Welcome to Your Need to Know. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and joining me tonight is Barry Gordon. He is the immediate past president of the Rotary Club of Fairfax. Welcome, Barry, to our show.
Thank you, Catherine. Great to be here.
So, you and I are both Rotarians, and you had suggested we should do a show together, and I wholeheartedly agree because often when I do shows, I mention the fact that I'm a Rotarian. Often the guests on my show are speakers at our Rotary Club. And so I kind of agree with your assessment that many people still don't understand what Rotary is and who are Rotarians and how to get involved, why to get involved, and how important service clubs like Rotary are right now all around the world. So I'm going to leave it to you, Barry, to give our viewers who may not understand about Rotary sort of an overview of what Rotary is.
Catherine, across the world, there are over 1.2 million members, 35,000 clubs in over 220 countries. And Rotary International is a service organization. We have projects in virtually every country that we operate. We have the ability to do things such as eradicate polio, provide clean water in Africa and in Haiti, and also one of the best projects I think we have, because our club participates in it, is a Guatemala literacy project. And last year there was over $700,000 contributed by Rotarians worldwide to help young children in Guatemala stay in school and learn how to do things and hopefully grow Guatemala without having to leave the country. The largest recipient of those dollars is young women, who are usually the ones who are forced to leave school early. And our club has 6 or 7 students we sponsor, and we watch them start and graduate from high school. To me, that's a very worthwhile project and one that I think should be replicated all over the world.
Well, you bring up something really important, Barry, and that is literacy, which is one of the areas. Education and literacy is one of the areas that Rotary International focuses on. Peace, maternal health and children's health, clean water. These are all things that Rotary on an international level is helping to solve these worldwide problems because we have Rotary clubs all over the world. Our club in Centerville, Chantilly, has a project in Haiti, and other clubs in our district over the years have helped us to support education, health clinics, clean water in Chantal, Haiti. And so, as our viewers think about the impact that Rotarians can make worldwide, it also comes down to a local level. And I know that the Fairfax Rotary Club has been very active in youth programs, the youth summer exchange program, the fact that you have scholarship programs, essay programs. You have a lot of youth focused programs, and that's something else that many Rotary clubs do locally. They support students and projects right in their own communities.
And while some Rotarians choose to focus on the international level, our club has a balance. And each year, as you mentioned, we give out scholarships to the students at Fairfax City High School. We honor the teachers. We provide food for a place for food, which is part of a place to stand in the schools. And we provide dictionaries and constitution booklets. These are not apps on their phones or on their iPads. These are hard copy books that they can put in their backpack and look up words and figure out what the Constitution is all about. And that is extremely important. So we can take it from the worldwide level down to Fairfax City and help create better citizens.
Absolutely. And the whole idea of Rotary, because Rotary started actually in Chicago in 1905, and it was businessmen who felt like they had an obligation to give back to their community, to people who were less fortunate, and to invest in making their community a better place as very successful businessmen. And so the club rotated around to different places, and it became Rotary. And from 1905 to the world stage, there have been a lot of changes in Rotary. We have Interact, which is at the high school level. We have Rotaract, which is the college age to age 30. And some Rotaract clubs and Interact clubs incredibly active. And then we have, clubs of large size, small size, but there are like over 30 clubs just in Northern Virginia. And so when you're a Rotarian, I can visit your club. Sometimes I do visit your club. I can visit the club in Dunloring. I can visit the club in Tyson's Corner or Ashburn or Leesburg or Great Falls. And so I hope people understand that this community of Rotarians is truly a community, both on the local level and being welcomed every single place you go to any other Rotary club in the world. When you show up for their meeting, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you are welcomed with open arms as part of the Rotary community.
I've been to Rotary clubs in Brazil, in Spain. I think I was one in England. I'm trying to remember, and have been welcomed with open arms. And one of the things that we found with this pandemic is now you can have a joint Zoom meeting with clubs all over the world and meet people who just have similar goals and are just service oriented. We had a joint meeting a few months ago with a club in Australia. We met at 12 noon. There was 12 midnight there, but they were happy and they were drinking their beer and just having a grand old time. So it was lots of fun. And you mentioned also, Catherine, that Rotary has evolved. Our club, which is just over 80 members now, is about a third women, two-thirds men, and aging from late 20s to their 90s. And we have been getting members in from Africa, from Japan, from South America. We have our club president is originally from Tajikistan. Now, if you told me where Tajikistan was, I never could have answered you. But now I know a lot about Tajikistan. And the goal is the same. All we're trying to do is make the world a little bit better, and we don't discuss politics. It's just doing good deeds, which is lots of fun.
So, Barry, you bring up something interesting about the makeup of your Rotary Club, including women, because women were not originally included in 1905 in Rotary. But in 1988, women did become part of Rotary, both here in the United States and internationally. And I think we have something that is historical in District 7610, in that we have a current district governor who is a woman, and that is Pat Borowski. And we have a district governor-elect, who is also a woman, Sheila Brennan, and then our district governor nominee, who is Renee Laws. And all three of them are women. And I do believe that that is a historical, hopefully precedent-setting evolution to Rotary here in District 7610. And I know your club has had some amazing women presidents as well.
We've had a lot, and they've all been very active and have helped grow the club internationally and with local events, etc. And without them, frankly, we couldn't be where we are today. The most active members in my club today are the younger women, and they're not bound by any traditions, and they just pitch in and do what they have to do. And one thing, Catherine, also remember the incoming 22-23 Rotary International president, Jennifer Jones, is the first
Yes.
woman internationally. And I read today that her initiative for 2022 is a $97 million grant for member-based projects all over the world. So that's a big chunk of money that people can apply for, clubs, districts, etc., and come up with really sustainable projects. So to not allow women in and to make them second-class members of Rotary is silly. That's all that it is. And if we get rid of that silliness, we'll be an even greater organization.
Well, I, of course, agree with you. I ended up choosing my club. My club, I joined in 2008. It was only 2 years old, and it was a very small club, but the first president of that club was a woman. And we have always been 50% women in my little club out in Centerville, Chantilly. So I found a very good home there, and I can appreciate the fact that there are wonderful leadership roles for women in Rotary. And so for our viewers who may be thinking, you're not sure that Rotary is a good fit for you, you might really be surprised. And every Rotary club has its own culture, its own way of doing things. And you should visit Rotary clubs. There's no harm, no foul. Visit a Rotary club, see what it's all about, and giving back to your community, giving back on a global basis. There is nothing more rewarding than to spend every week, and it is a weekly meeting, with people who are focused on improving the world, improving the lives of people around us, and it's some of the nicest people you will ever meet. I want to circle back around to something you said about Jennifer Jones's initiative, because our current International Rotary Club president, Shaker Mehta, his theme this year is Serve to Change Lives. And so every incoming Rotary International president has a theme. And so this is very interesting, that Jennifer Jones has already said what hers is, and that this year Rotarians around the world are focusing on serving to change lives. We're going to go to a short break. I hope you'll join us after this break. We are talking to Barry Gordon, who is the immediate past president of the Rotary Club of Fairfax here in Fairfax City, Virginia. So please join us after the break.
As they head toward the finish, Warren has built a substantial lead and headed for her 4th gold medal.
She's ahead of the world record pace by at least half a second, and she... Oh, wait, what's she doing?
I think she's doing a headstand. Why would she do that?
She's stopping. She stopped.
I've never seen
She was so
anything
close
like
to the
this.
finish, and she stopped.
I don't know what
This
she's
is
thinking.
unbelievable. Yeah, I've never...
STEM is the discipline of hard numbers, precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to get messy, or just mess it up. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to try. Dare to fail. Dare to keep daring. Dare to learn the difference between organic, sedimentary, and non-foliated metamorphic rock. Get outside, find those rocks. Dare to be homeroom famous, a high school fable. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. And for the love of STEM, dare bigger. Dare to code, dare to invent, dare to explore. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Welcome back to Your Need to Know. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and tonight we're talking about Rotary, always one of my favorite subjects because I have been a Rotarian for 13 years. Joining us tonight is Barry Gordon. He's the immediate past president of the Rotary Club of Fairfax. So Barry, your club is much bigger than my club. You mentioned you have about 80 members, and they come from very diverse backgrounds. Tell us a little bit about some of the projects that your club is involved with and some of the collaborative partnerships you have with organizations in the community.
Thank you, Catherine. We support organizations like Bright Paths, which helps with poorer families, helping them get a little better place in life. We support the Lamb Center, which works with homeless folks, men, and trying to give them jobs and food and places to stay, which I understand is trying to grow to become a live-in place rather than just a drop-in center. We work with the Salvation Army, and one of the key things that we do is have a holiday Christmas party every year. Now, last year, because of COVID, we did a drive-through Christmas party in the parking lot of the American Legion. We had set up tents with Chick-fil-A, hot dogs, chips, whatever, and presents for all the kids. And we had a group of cars just streaming through the parking lot, and all the kids got their presents, and it was a little different, but the Chick-fil-A cow was there, the fire department was there, and we had a really good time. It was a little bit chilly, but it was okay.
Well, that speaks to adaptability, doesn't it? Because COVID has forced all of us to think outside the box. And to me, it shows that your club did a really nice pivot and managed to successfully get gifts into the hands of the children who needed them. So I think you're to be applauded for your ingenuity.
The other thing we just did is there are 3 different scout troops in Fairfax City. And the newest one is a Boy Scout troop comprised of all young women. So
Wow.
we've added them to, who knew?
That's great.
So we donate $500 to each of the 3 different scout troops. And the newest one is the one which is only young women. And that's how far Rotary has come from being just men in the Middle West to a very diverse organization. And it's been fun watching the transition. Sometimes we have to cajole members to become part of the new generation, but it works. And it makes us all a little bit happier to be able to help these people do better in their lives.
Well, you're so right. And organizations like Bright Paths, and for many years I was on their board of directors, and the Salvation Army, which our club also supports programs at the Salvation Army. This is a great way to invest time, your talent, and your resources back to the communities where you live. But we also do things on the international level. You mentioned Polio Plus and eradicating polio worldwide, which there are no more cases in the wild in Africa. So the many years that Rotarians have invested in trying to eradicate polio have really paid off. And also Shelter Box. Shelter Box is something that was created by a Rotarian in the UK. And this provides disaster relief around the world when there are things like hurricanes or tsunamis, earthquakes. So that a box that has a tent in it to fit, to serve a family, and it's got a cook stove, and it's got pots and pans and even things for the kids to do, they get shipped out around the world to where they're needed. And Rotary, again, that was invented by a Rotarian, it's supported by Rotary. And, these are just some of the examples of how we serve both near and far. And so you mentioned some of the programs, your literacy program in Guatemala. I know that your club is very active. You have a lot of events. You're a group that likes to party.
Well, the next thing that's coming up, we're participating in Fairfax City's Fall Festival. So we will have a booth there. We don't have any food to sell you or anything. We're just educating people who walk by about Rotary. And they come with their families, and hopefully we can attract a few more members to Rotary. And it's just a fun time. So we have happy hours since we are not meeting in person because of COVID, and we are trying to keep our protocols in place. We have started to have some more happy hours. We have them at Lost Dog Cafe and PJ Skidoo's. Any place that will host us and give us some free food, we're happy.
And those are fun things to do. To your point, not everybody is down for a midday lunch on Mondays. That's a big commitment. And I think a lot of people look at Rotary and think, wow, every single week, that's a lot. Your club meets at 12:15 on Mondays at the American Legion in Fairfax City. That's American Legion Post 177 on Oak Street. And, and so for some people that might be kind of daunting. But to have the happy hours and to do things outside the club meetings, gives a chance for greater participation for people who maybe don't have as much flexibility or ownership over their own time as other members of your club. So I applaud that. The Fairfax Fall Festival is going to be held in historic downtown Fairfax on Saturday, October the 9th. I will certainly be there. And I do encourage people to come by and get more information about Rotary. We live in a part of Virginia, Northern Virginia, that is very international, that people come here from all over the world. And Barry mentioned the diverse makeup of his club from people who are members from around the world. And so it's a good place. Rotary is a good place for people who may be new to our area or new to our country to find a welcoming group of people who totally understand that, making friends and figuring out how to fit in with your community can be daunting if you're brand new. What else? I know that, do you guys still sing, Barry? Are you a singing club? I do recall.
Every week we have a song of the day, and we have one member who leads us. The current member, Matt Edgar, plays the guitar, and I think he has a small trio. So every week for the month of September, he treats us with a song. We have another member, Jay Kim, who is a plastic surgeon in Fairfax City, who plays the violin phenomenally. Same motor skills. If you have your face done or you want to learn about the violin, he's the guy, and he's played for us on several occasions. Carolyn Chappelle, who was a former president involved with International, she's a singer and sings in a chorus, so she often leads us in song. So
yes, you have a very musical club, as I recall.
We do.
So, it's interesting too about your speakers, and I want to give, big accolades to your club because you bring in amazing speakers, and we should not, minimize at all that one of the features of Rotary meetings is bringing in speakers, all kinds of speakers from all walks of life, international speakers, to help the club understand so many different things. And in Fairfax City, every time I've been to your club, you have a phenomenal roster of speakers. And so people should really check out who your speakers are going to be, because if you're going to visit a Rotary club, pick a speaker that you're, potentially interested in. That's how I got involved in Rotary in the first place. Somebody invited me to a Rotary meeting to hear a Rotary scholar who was just returning from Egypt speak to the Burke Club. And it was my very first Rotary meeting, and I was like so knocked out by this program that I'm like, I should be in Rotary. These are the kinds of things that really interest me. I should be a Rotarian. And so I encourage our viewers to realize that you are welcome. And there is an app you can get from the App Store that is the Rotary Locator, and it will tell you every Rotary club close to your zip code and when they meet, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Monday through Friday, what restaurant, or in this case, the American Legion. And so you can visit a club. And believe me, clubs will welcome people who came to see what Rotary is all about. We absolutely embrace visitors.
Catherine, the other thing is all Rotary clubs usually have club flags. So when you travel around the world, you can exchange flags with the clubs that you visit. So that's a lot of fun. And we have a whole rack of them at the Legion of clubs that people have visited up until a couple of years ago.
Well, yeah, because we're kind of like, it's been kind of difficult with COVID to do anything in person. I did want to mention that we talked about Pat Borowski as being our current district governor. She is also the co-host of Rotary District 7610 TV, which is also produced and airs on Fairfax Public Access, which also is who produces this show on Channel 10. And so the Rotary TV airs on the first and second Mondays at 7 p.m. If you want to know more about Rotary in our district, please tune in to the Rotary channel the first and second Mondays of the month here on Channel 10.
Several months ago, I appeared on that program, but I was dressed up really fancy with my big bow tie and everything else. But I thought I'd go casual today.
We're a very casual show, Barry. Yes, we're a very casual
my
show.
Rotary polo shirt.
We know what I found interesting about wearing your Rotary pin. Back when I used to do a lot of trainings for really large groups, I always made it a point to wear my Rotary pin on the lapel of my suit jacket. And invariably, in any large group of people, someone is a Rotarian. And they'll come up and say, "Oh, you're a Rotarian. What club are you in? And you should visit my club." And so you wearing your Rotary shirt just reminded me that it's an international symbol that people recognize right away. And once somebody recognizes that you're a Rotarian, you just meet people all over the world who feel like they know you or have a connection to you.
And doors open that never would have opened to you because you're part of a big service organization. So it's phenomenal.
I mean, I think it is too. When I went to the international convention in Hamburg, Germany, and I took my husband with me, and of course, it's so funny, I have to tell you, because, my husband and I are there in Hamburg, Germany, and everyone assumed he was the Rotarian. Not exactly. My husband was like, "No, Catherine's the Rotarian. I'm along for the ride." But there were groups from all over Africa and the South Pacific and South America, and and so many Rotaractors, so many young people at this international convention. And every year Rotary hosts an international convention someplace in the world. Several times it's been here in the United States, it's been in Canada, but it's held all over the world. And so it's a fun way to meet people who share. Again, it's about shared values. Rotarians simply raise money and invest in their communities and invest in tackling some of the world's big problems like polio or natural disasters. And I give it up to you, Barry, because you are obviously a very active president in your club and you've done a lot for Fairfax. Any parting thoughts for our viewers before we say goodbye?
Well, if COVID permits, the next convention is in Houston.
There you go.
So probably get a nonstop flight from Dulles and just get over there and enjoy all the people down in Texas. And we are, oops, there goes my AirPod. But we are also having our 50-50 raffle in a couple of weeks. So 100 tickets, $100 a piece. You have a chance to win $5,000.
There you go. And that's the other thing, I did mention Rotarians have to fundraise, and all Rotaries fundraise. Thank you so much, Barry. This has been a lot of fun. And for those of you at home, this is what you need to know about Rotary.